Hey guys, welcome to Tom Talks. On this week's episode, we're going to be giving away that $50 gift card.
Find out why weebs are invading Fort Worth.
We're also going to talk about the city that Mark Cuban just bought.
And why robots are taking over DFW.
And finally, we're going to talk about how you play the game of loans. Hey guys, my name is Tom Jung, and this is my co-host,
Jack Lisenby.
And before we get started, we got to plug all of our social media. You can find us at Tom's Texas Realty on Facebook and Instagram, and tom.things on TikTok. And our website is tomstexasrealty.com. So first of all, thank you to everybody that sent in entries for or ideas for our next promo video. And we've got a list here. And so I guess we'll just go through and talk about
The possibilities.
Yeah. So the first one, The Simpsons.
Simpsons. I mean, really iconic.
Yeah, I gotta be honest, I've seen like 2 episodes.
Same. I'm not a big Simpsons person, but it's
yeah.
everywhere, so you can't miss the intro.
I wasn't allowed to watch it as a kid.
Really?
Yeah, I felt like I was missing out.
I mean, I wasn't either, but I mean, it was an older TV show at that point anyway.
Now we have The Office on here, and I don't. It didn't specify a scene, did it?
No, the intro to The Office is just kind of like, it's a lot like the Full House one where it's just like pan to person.
Yeah.
They recognize camera kind of thing.
Right, and then we just put the music over the top.
Right.
That could work.
Yeah.
Okay. Ocean's 2.
Ocean's 11.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Those aren't Roman
not
numerals.
Roman numerals.
Okay, my bad. That could be good. We've talked about this one actually. There's a scene when they're planning the heist.
Yeah.
And we've talked about remaking that one into planning the
listing?
The listing, yeah. And so that could work. The Addams Family. I didn't know that was still relevant.
See, well, probably not anymore, but that would have been a really good one for Halloween.
I feel like our team picture should be done like that, where everybody dresses up and it's in like black and white or something on a couch. And
we could definitely do that.
Yeah, so we may use that for a team picture.
Okay.
Then we have Wes Lyles coming in strong with a bunch of ideas. Yellowstone.
I don't know what that is. As far as TV shows go.
Yeah, it's on HBO, man. Like, who has a subscription to that? Ever since Game of Thrones ended, so did my subscription, yeah.
That's fair, kind of like Disney Plus with The Mandalorian.
Yeah, there may be something there. We'll have to look into it. The next one, I'm gonna give a hard no on the Island Boys.
Yeah, that was some TikTok meme with 2 guys and crazy hair.
It was so bad. That was the worst. And then what is this one here?
Fresh Prince.
That could be good. We'd have to rewrite that entire song.
Yeah, I think it doesn't showcase a lot of people in the intro, so we would have to get creative. Like maybe each person does a section of the intro.
Ooh, that could be, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd have to make it to like where like each little verse is somebody different,
right?
Talking about where they're coming from or something.
And then we got what is this? We got Diners, Drive-ins, and Dives with Guy Fieri. I don't even know what the intro looks like.
I've never seen it. Golly. I need to watch more TV. And then Portnoy's Pizza.
Yeah, Nathan was telling me about it.
I've seen it. He just orders pizza and tells you what he thinks.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
That would be a good segment. Like, hey, we're at this house. Here's what I think about it.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, we could make that a video, but I don't know about it being a.
That could be a whole segment.
Yeah.
Okay. I think, dude, I think we give away 2.
Okay.
I think we go with Ocean's 11.
Okay.
And then I think we give one away to Wes for the plethora of ideas that he's gotten, and
for the dedication.
Yeah, and maybe we explore that Fresh Prince one. Everybody knows that beat, right?
Yeah, of course. So I guess what do we got? I Gotta Save and Wes Lyles. If you want to comment on this video,
so I guess we'll hit you up on whatever media platform.
Yeah, whatever
this was on, and we'll get your address and send you out a card.
Cool.
So awesome, man. Well, jumping into the rest of the stuff, what do you got? What are we starting with?
Well, there was an anime convention over the weekend.
Okay.
I know a lot of people. It's kind of a weird topic because some people are really into it, like really into it, and then there's other people that are just like, it's just cartoons.
Yeah.
So
I've never gotten into it. Don't know anything about it.
Hey, that's fine. I get it. It's not everyone's bag. But the funny thing is, it came to Fort Worth of all places, and we get all kinds of conventions here. We got Billy Bob's down there, so we got like We got like Midland and maybe Toby Keith back in the day coming up here, and that's pretty on brand for Fort Worth.
Yeah.
But an anime convention.
Yeah. Did they do it at Billy Bob's?
No.
I was
sorry.
gonna say that'd be really
no,
weird.
that would be weird. No, they did it at the Fort Worth convention over.
You know what? In downtown.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was talking to somebody about that the other day. That place is old.
Really?
Yeah, I've never actually been in it, but I gotta imagine it's outdated.
It definitely has like a early 2000s, late 90s feel to it. Everything kind of like cream colored, because I go down there.
Yeah.
There's plenty of gun shows down there, and so anytime
Gotcha.
those go up, I go down there. But they hosted an anime convention this year that was actually postponed from May of last year.
Did you go to it?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
but
okay.
I did see some of the people walking around town, and I was like, what is going on? But I saw the article, and it makes a lot of sense now.
Gotcha.
It was originally going to be in Austin. No surprise there.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that makes a little more sense.
Yeah.
But since Austin's still kind of on their thing about mask mandates and being much more socially distant, and Fort Worth's a little more lax about it.
Yeah. Like, come on in. Whatever.
Yeah, they shifted the venue a little bit north, and so yeah. But their big thing was I don't know if you've heard of it, Attack on Titan. It's one of the more popular ones, even people who aren't super into anime. It's a good transition one for them because it's slower paced. It's a more mature. Yeah, it's I think it's on season 4 now.
What's it called?
Attack on Titan.
Attack on Titan. So if you're thinking about getting into it or you want to check it out, that'd be a good place to start. Huh?
Don't watch it with your kids.
Okay. It's not
not that kind of show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. All right. Very good. And then Mark Cuban just bought a whole city.
The owner of the Dallas Cowboys, or prior owner.
No.
He sold it, didn't he?
Cowboys?
Am I crazy? I'm not a big sports person, so you're gonna have to tell. He owns
the
some
Mavericks,
team. The
Dallas Mavericks basketball. Yeah. Jerry Jones says
whatever.
Yeah, all right. Jeez. All right. Well, you stick to anime. I'll stick to sports.
Gotcha.
Okay. So, anyways, it sounds a lot cooler than it is. They had it on sale. They had it for sale for $4 million. It's only 77 acres.
Okay.
And the current population is 10. And there's really not much there. It's an hour south. It's Mustang, Texas, an hour south of Dallas, right off 35. And I think currently it has a water treatment facility, a trailer park, and an old strip club.
Classy.
Yeah, and so who knows why he's buying it? He didn't say why he was buying it or whatever. You could speculate. You know, it could have been he could have just bought it for a tax write-off. Who knows?
True. It sounds a lot like Schitt's Creek. Yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah, if he ever goes bankrupt, he's going to end up living there.
Which also kind of begs the question, like, how do you become your own city? Like, what? Like, if the 77 acres and 10 people and you can be a city, is that...
I mean, legally, you just need a post office and a zip code. So, I mean, if you've got the land and you want to put together the resources with the local government.
Interesting. Cool. Well, anyways, Cuban bought it. Who knows for what? We'll keep you posted.
Yeah, and then... So we've seen it before with Amazon, but drone delivery is coming back. Originally, it was kind of like a weird thing where everyone's like, "Let me get a."
Not happening.
Yeah, everyone's like, "If I see a drone, I'm gonna shoot it out of the sky." But it's kind of making a comeback with on a smaller scale, because before it was Amazon delivering huge packages, and now Walgreens is actually partnering with a company called Wing, which is a Google sister company.
Okay.
That basically almost exclusively provides drone services. And what they're doing is anything that's less than 3 pounds can be transported from a Walgreens location in Elmdale or Frisco. It's currently being tested right now. It's waiting FAA approval, but within 10 minutes you can have your stuff delivered. So these things, they can travel up to 150 feet in the air at 65 miles an hour, beat all the traffic and fly in a straight line. You can get pretty much anywhere in the local vicinity pretty quickly.
Dang. Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I was talking to a buddy of mine, Ryan. He lives in Arkansas and works for Walmart. And so Walmart's headquartered in Arkansas, and it's like can't remember the name of the town. It's on the north side of it. I think northwest. Anyways, they've started their drone delivery service.
Okay.
So, anyways, this is the thing that's happening. It's kind of like, and they have their self-driving trucks. I don't know if that's. I'm guessing it's semi-trucks. But anyways, this is all stuff that's really happening. Like I remember hearing about it years ago, and I was like, yeah, that sounds cool. Someday in the future, whatever. It's
right.
Future's right around the corner now. So
That's true. I was going to say I think Walgreens is a really good starting thing because it could be something like a prescription for an elderly person who may not be especially ambulatory or can't drive.
Yeah.
This would be really good for them, and probably cheaper than Uber Eats.
Yeah, and I was asking Ryan about like, because back when this came out, I was like, man, whoever comes up with like the delivery mailbox for drones, it's gonna be one rich person. Because I was thinking you have a box that they drop it in, and then it's got a lid that, lets it in, but then closes so nobody can jack your stuff. Because if they just drop in your front yard, somebody's walking by, they're like, well, that package is not supposed to be there. I'll just grab that. But anyways, he was talking about, I think they may actually deliver it to your backyard, but I don't know how they picked the location. Like, what if it's off and it lands on your roof?
So they didn't specify it in the article, but the way it currently does it, it doesn't actually land. These drones, they'll hover about 20 or so feet in the air, and they release a slack line with the package at the bottom of it and a special type of bag. And then
so it's like a SWAT team coming in, but it's
kind of. And the package gets dropped on the ground, and then the hook obviously releases because it goes below the handle, and then it just retrieves the slack line and takes off.
Huh. So yeah, interesting. So they, I wonder if they've got somebody like watching where they drop those things.
Probably. I think in the development stage currently they do something like that, because I think before Amazon had like a pad you had to put out so it knew where to land.
I could see that.
I think these are currently being manually operated, but if they can get an algorithm down, kind of like Google Earth, if they can like see, hey, there are no trees here, or this is a good spot to land, then your property could be probably like approved, and then they just have the drone go back and forth to that location.
Interesting. It's going to be cool. All right, so last thing, loans. We're going to talk about how to play the game of loans. And so a lot of people come into this and they don't really know what to expect. So we just kind of want to give an overview here and a breakdown. If you're looking to possibly buy a house here in the next year, however long, at least it's in your mind how it works so you can start thinking about it. And so the first thing is the overall picture. What is the lender going to look at? So if you're looking at getting a conventional type loan, conventional FHA, VA, they're all going to be looking at the same thing. They want to know that you make enough money and you don't have too many expenses to where you won't have any problem paying them, which makes sense, right?
Right. They got to get theirs.
Yeah. If you're lending somebody money, you want to make sure they're going to pay you back. So with that, the first piece of it is they're going to look at your income. And we'll break this down here in a second, but you're either a W-2 or a 1099. And if you're a W-2, which means your company takes out taxes and insurance and all that other stuff before you actually get the money, then they're going to look at your gross income. So what you make before all that stuff is taken out. So that's your income. If you're 1099, we'll talk about that in a second. So anyways, you take your income, and then they also look at your debt. So let's say that you make $100,000, but you've got $50,000 a year you're paying that you have to pay. And that could be, it's anything you have to pay. Like, number one, the new mortgage you got, child support, credit card, monthly payments, student loans. What else?
I mean, that's
can you not get away from?
Those are the big ones.
Car payments, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So anything you can't get away from, they count as a debt. So basically, they take your debt divided by your income, and they get a ratio. So if you're making $100,000 and you got $50,000 that you owe each year in debt, you have a 50% debt to income ratio. And ideally, if you're below 35%, you are the customer that everybody wants. If you're between like 35 and 50, you're in a good range. If you're over 50, slightly over 50%, it's going to get real interesting. And this is they used to be able to do this. Now they change rules all the time, but used to, when it came to houses, like if you were married, a lot of times what I would see is people would put all the debt in one person's name, and then for the house, they would just qualify based on the other person. I don't know if you can still do that or not, but it's interesting. I never really thought about it, but some people do that. I don't know if the game changed recently, but it's recently is like 3 years ago. It's working that way. So anyways, they want to make sure that you're going to pay them back, number one. And then number two, even though you make enough money, they want to make sure that you're actually going to pay them because you can make a lot of money and not pay anybody, right?
True.
Yeah. So they're going to look at your credit score. And what a lot of people don't know, like when you log into Credit Karma or maybe your bank and it shows, hey, this is your credit score, that's your consumer credit score. And so your mortgage credit score is calculated differently. The algorithm's a little bit different. So anyways, don't be surprised if it tells you a 720 on Credit Karma, and when it comes back at 680 from the lender pulling your credit, they didn't mess something up. It's the way that it works. So that being said, boy, do you know what the bottom is for credit score as far as loans go?
I've seen a couple in the fives.
Yeah, like 580.
Is it?
I don't know. It was like 2 years ago. It was like 540. They're like, you have a pulse and a credit score? Yes, come on in. But as of right now, and this is December 2021, the banks are tightening everything up. So like on investment properties, you used to be able to put 20% down. Now it's 25%.
Mm-hmm.
So, and these are just traditional loans. There are lots of other ways to lending. But so I guess before we wrap up, let's talk about the difference between a W-2 and 1099. So a 1099 is folks like us.
Independent contractors.
Independent contractors, self-employed, you're running your own business.
Yeah.
I say that because you're both, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, I guess let's talk about that for a second. So if you're both, then your W-2 is what it is. Your 1099 is going to be treated a little bit differently. And if your W-2, I've seen this a few times where people, their income's really good, but a lot of their income is dependent upon overtime or bonuses. And so that's calculated a little bit differently. So it definitely, if that's you and you're thinking about it, it's worth talking to a lender beforehand. We've had situations where people have gone back in, renegotiated how they got paid so that they could qualify for a loan. And then with the 1099, so this is where things get interesting. I have a lot of people that are self-employed, they own their own companies, and they find a house and they make good money, but then they don't qualify. So with a 1099, you need to show, and this is probably especially relevant now because I think a lot of people after COVID probably changed careers.
Right.
Or work from home or some sort of combination.
Found some very creative way to make money.
Exactly. Yeah. So if that's you, the bank's going to want 2 years worth of history doing whatever you're doing. So if all of a sudden you started selling Barbie dolls online to make a living and you did it within the last year, let's say you're really good at selling, Barbie dolls, then let's say you made $100,000, but you've only got 1 year worth of tax returns. I think the bank can still do the loan, but they're going to take that $100,000 and average it over 2 years. So it's going to look like you only made $50,000. Now with 1099s, it's not the same as W-2. You don't start with your gross revenue. It's your adjusted gross income after all of your expenses and everything else. What you take home at the end of the day, plus any depreciation you have on assets, such as houses, cars, machinery, whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, this is where the issue comes in quite a bit because there's a lot of people that make really good money, but they'll reinvest it into their company, so they pay less taxes, right? Would you rather, go buy another truck for your company or give the government $10,000? Right? You're probably going to buy that truck.
Right.
Yeah. So what'll happen a lot of times is somebody will make a lot of money, but at the end of the year, they'll say, let's reinvest all of this back into the company. And so they only show $30,000 on their as for their income, and then at that point they have trouble qualifying for a house. So if that's you and you have been reinvesting or pencil whipping your taxes, definitely before you do your taxes next year, get in touch with us or your lender, and that way you can have a plan on how you should do your taxes to come out ahead. And then on top of that, next week, we're going to talk about deductions. So whenever you do buy a house, there's two ways to do it. You can do it the traditional route where you homestead the property, or you can buy the house through an LLC and rent it back to yourself. And there's advantages with both of them. And so next week we'll talk about that. But that's also Good stuff.
All right. Sounds fun.
Anything I missed there? Any questions?
I think that was pretty well covered.
All right, cool. All right, well, thanks for tuning in, and yeah, we'll see you next week.